Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here and to report the work that we are doing within JACARDI. So for those who are not, doesn't know JACARDI is a joint action which involves 21 European countries, including Ukraine and 76 partners. It started the 1st of November last year and will last for 4 years. And we have a total budget of 66 million, so we are the second biggest joint action together with the JA Prevent and CVDs. The European coordinator is the Italian National Institute of Health, and the aim of the project is to reduce the burden of cardiovascular diseases and diabetes, both at the individual and societal level, while assuring sustainability and equity. We plan to implement 142 pilots, and so another important aim of the joint action is to enhance the implementation of best practice and pilot testing innovative practices. This will be, we are going to do this within a conceptual framework that we developed during the proposal of the following the patient journey, or if we also would like to call this an integrative care approach. Starting targeting, addressing healthy people through health literacy and awareness, passing through the focusing on risk population through implementation of screenings, and then focusing on people diagnosed with cardiovascular diseases and diabetes through the enhancement of integrated care pathways, self-management, and also a specific setting of labor participation of people living with NCDs. This is actually was taken from the CRODIS Plus, was a continuity with the other joint action. As you might see from the figure, all these different approach will be within two main umbrellas of health equity and the data availability and quality. Concerning the transferability and sustainability of best practice within the project, we develop a specific transversal work package on methodology. We have a methodological framework and integrated approach that has been cross-cuttingly included in each technical work packages. And this methodology has key activities that is at the moment addressing, and we just finalized the development of this methodological framework. We started from a country-level context analysis because we thought that it's important to implement intervention that we're actually going to fill in the gap and particularly going to meet the needs of within member states. Then after this country-level context analysis, we also started to identify best practices and other practices. I will show in the next few slides how was the process of this selection. Considering that we are going to implement 142 pilot projects, we were not going to pre-select specific best practices, but we decided to really adapt and focus on the context needs of the member state and local needs. As you might see, the other activities are the analysis of the situation at the pilot implementation side. So starting since the beginning, understanding what is the context and what are the needs within the context to adapt the practices and the best practice in the pilot implementation side. And then at the moment we are in the phase of preparation of pilot implementation plan, which define what will the pilot do. So the pilot can build this activity based on selective key element of best practice or other practices, and will adapt them to local needs and local contexts based on needs, challenges, and targets. And then there would be the phase of implementation, monitoring, and assessment of pilots. Each pilot will follow through this methodology, a specific multidimensional assessment that can provide us specific information on how better implement in other, for scaling up in other countries or within different regions within the same countries. And then we also have a common reporting, which is based on SQUARE 2.0 guideline and best practice portal evaluation template. And then two main transversal aspects that have been included in this methodological framework are the integration of equity and diversity principle and the building sustainability from day one. And I will explain a little bit more in detail what is the concept of sustainability within JACARDI. Regarding the identification of best practice and other practices, we had a process divided in different phases, from which we started in each technical work packages a discussion between the work package leader and the pilot sites on what they really wanted to, what were the needs and what they really wanted to implement. After the discussion, there was a second phase one in which initially each pilot started the identification of best practice through the best practice portal. But not all the pilots could actually find a best practice that could give a rationale on what they really wanted to implement. So if they found a best practice, they will follow phase 3, and automatically they were validated because the best practice has been already evaluated by the European Commission. If they were not finding the best practice, they had the possibility to find other relevant practices from other initiatives, from other projects that have been then validated from a delegation from the implementation board, which is a board developed within the transversal work package. So if a pilot were selecting another practices that were not best practices, they were presenting these to this implementation board, and we were evaluating the practices following the criteria that the European Commission is using for the evaluation of best practices. And the criteria, the other practice should have at least one of these criteria, which are the criteria that DG Sante provided us, and are some of the criteria on which the practices are evaluated to be best practices. So effectiveness, equity, transferability, sustainability, intersectoral collaboration, and participation, that are actually criteria that we just mentioned in all the presentation on the basis of the sustainability and transferability. And to explain better our methodological approach, each pilot will follow these 15 steps. And the last 3 steps are basically a focus on sustainability. So the last 3 steps are sustainability, but as you might see from the beginning, we have both an orange line and a violet line in which we'll follow each of the steps, and are the transversal aspect of sustainability and equity that will go through all specific steps of the methodology. And as you might see in different steps, from step 3, for example, we have a situation analysis. So the pilot projects focus on the context and on the specific context and the needs and challenges, and to start to create a stakeholder analysis. Then there would be a refinement of the general objective, and then the plan, the pilot implementation plan. And this process, as I was explaining, is an iterative process. So all these 15 steps will be will have an iterative process of reflection. This reflection will allow us to follow for sustainability this 4A method: the adopt for successful activities, abandon for unsuccessful one, add for new opportunities, and adapt for activities that need adjustment. And this will follow the concept that we have of sustainability. Sustainability in JACARDI is defined as the ability of JACARDI to provide structured and evidence-based support for the pilot and other JACARDI partners to support the continued utilization of pilot results after the EU funding, and also to translate these into high policy at high policy level, so into policy action. As you might see, in JACARDI, sustainability is defined at 3 different levels: at pilot level, at technical work package level, and as a consortium of partners. And for each specific level, we will have specific activity on sustainability. Sustainability as the principle will follow specific phases and tasks within the pilot, in pilot design, implementation, and monitoring, and reporting. And each pilot will develop the sustainability action plan, which will lead the activity for 2 years after the project. Then we also, at work package level, we will develop a roadmap for each of the 6 key topics. And this roadmap will summarize results of the pilot and identify factors that are important for the development of future programs. And at the highest level, we have, as was mentioning also from the colleague from Sensano, the collaboration with the JR Prevent NCDs through the Sustainability Coordination Body, Policy Decision-Making Forum, and we are going to develop together a joint action sustainability plan. And this is how we will try to translate the evidence into policy. And finally, I just wanted, in this slide, I just wanted to highlight another important aspect on sustainability that we included as a specific task, and this is the science to policy interaction and communication. We talk a lot about the importance of communication and the inclusion of different stakeholders. Through this science to policy interaction and communication task, we are going to train our partners and particularly the 300 pilot team representative to actually improve the competencies in enhancing the translation of pilot finding into arguments for sustainable change. And this will be included within the sustainability action plan of each pilot. So we will try to actually translate the evidence that the pilots will report through the multidimensional assessment into policy that can actually be included in at national or European level. I will stop here and I will take any question later if needed. Thank you very much.